Yes, hi, good afternoon. I'm Piero Tozzi, the Republican Staff Director of the Tom Lantos Human Rights Commission. And on behalf of the Tom Lantos Commission, I'd like to welcome you. We are hosting this briefing. And since our time is relatively short, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Kyle, who's going to say a few remarks about our first panel. And we will then have a second panel, which will be subsequently introduced. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Good afternoon. The panel seated in front of you is all comprised of all Nigerians who just arrived Monday, right? We worked hard to get their visas and get them over here to share their stories. So you're going to hear some of their stories. So I'll start with my left, Napoleon Adamu, coming from the Benue State, Agatu, where there was a massacre several years ago. He's come to share a little bit about what happened there. Sitting next to him is Dr. Gloria Puldu, who is the president of the Leah Foundation, which was set up to help people like Leah Sharibu and other girl captives and their families as they're dealing with these type of issues, as well as get through it once they've been released or once they hear the news of their fate. And she's also a personal friend with the next guest, Rebecca Sharibu, who is the mother of Leah Sharibu, who's still captive a year and several months afterwards. She was taken on February 19th, 2018, with about 110 other girls from the village of Dapchi in the dark of night. And she's the only girl that still remains in captivity. She was the only girl that's a Christian, and she did not want to deny her faith. And so she will tell some of her story as well. Sitting next to her is El Harry Magaji, who's coming from Kaduna State, in the north part of Kaduna State, a couple kilometers east of the capital of Kaduna State, Kaduna City, which is in the predominantly northern part of Kaduna State, which she'll share a story about the Adara people who have been systematically persecuted, oppressed, and now being driven out as far as their livelihood and their actually ability to be called a people group of the Adara. And next to her is Mercy Mesamari, who's coming from the same location, and she'll tell a story of being kidnapped as well. So seated in front of you is a group of people who will share their personal stories. So we appreciate your coming and learning more about what's going on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so very much for having us. And I want to just ask Leah's mom to speak first, and I'll interpret what she says before I make my own contributions. So,
You off it.
My name is Rebecca. I come here purposely because of my daughter, which was abducted since last year, 19th February. So I come here to plead the government of US to please help me for her release. Thank you.
She said she is Rebecca Sharibu, and she's the mother of Leah Sharibu, whose daughter Leah Sharibu was abducted on the 19th of February 2018. And Leah was abducted alongside 110 girls, just like Kyle said. And she was the only Christian girl among all the 110 girls that were abducted from their school. And Boko Haram claimed responsibility for abducting them. After a month, the federal government of Nigeria secured the release of the girls. But Boko Haram refused to release Leah because Leah refused to renounce her faith. And since that time, we had been doing all that we can, engaging our government, the National Assembly, we have the senators and the representatives, we have all other people advocating the civil societies and churches and even mosques, and all that we can in our own country, Nigeria, to ensure that the government is given the pressure that they should release Leah. But unfortunately, since when Leah has been kept back, nothing has been done. And today, we have gotten the opportunity to come before your government, to plead with your government, to please pressure our government, because it seems our government are unwilling to secure the release of Leah. Why did they say they are unwilling? Because the other 100 plus girls were released, but Leah, that has been kept back because she refused to renounce her faith, has not been released. Probably they are also unable. If they are unable, then they should ask for help. And we have come to plead with your government, to plead with President Trump and his administration, and all of you seated here, to please speak out on behalf of Leah Sharibu, that Leah Sharibu should be released from captivity because she has committed no crime. We are running a democratic system in Nigeria, and freedom of religion is part of democracy. So every person should be given that opportunity. Girls, women should have the opportunity of going to school. Boko Haram they pledge allegiance to ISIS West Africa. And what does Boko Haram mean? Boko Haram means Western education forbidden. Why should our girls be forbidden from going to school? Why should somebody be refused to allow to practice his or her religion that she has chosen to practice? Leah Sharibu is in captivity. We plead with you. We plead with all of you. We plead with your government. We have pleaded with ours. They have done nothing. And we just want to cry out to everybody that Leah is a prisoner of conscience and she needs to be set free. She stood her ground and she refused to renounce her faith. And we are proud of what she did. So with that, we just want to ask that if you are in a position to speak, please speak. The mother is here. She is in pains every day. She has a son, younger brother to Donald. He is also in pains, and her father is also in pains. They are traumatized. Please do something. Help us. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alheri Magaji. I am Adara from Kajuru local government of Kaduna State. On May 29th last year, the governor of my state signed into law that Adara doesn't exist anymore. On October 19, the chief of my tribe was kidnapped alongside his wife. 4 of his aides were killed on the spot. On the 26th of October, he was shot in the face after a ransom was paid. My dad is the waziri of Adara, so in the absence of the chief, my dad becomes the chief. And then that was when we found out that the chiefdom was no more, after the chief died. So my dad, on behalf of the Adara people, took the case to court to get our land back because we didn't know the state had abolished Adara completely. A week after the civil case started, my dad and 9 and 8 other elders were locked up in prison. And immediately after that, there were a series of attacks on Adara land by Fulani herdsmen. In the space of 8 weeks, we lost about 400 people. Children, women, old people, slaughtered like sheep. The last operation they had, how they killed the women and children was they would throw you up in the air and keep cutting off pieces till there's nothing left. And most of this happened while our elders were in prison. Our youth are in prison. Every time we're attacked, in the space of 8 weeks, there have been minimum of 7 attacks on the Adara people. The narrative the government gives is that it's a fight between farmers and herdsmen. That's not true. I'm living it. It's religious. Because we've never gone out to fight anybody. All the attacks have been at about 6:30 to 8 a.m. in the morning, while people are waking up from sleep. They come in hundreds, 400, 500 Fulani men, surround little villages and just slaughter people. Sometimes they come with war songs, wanting you to run so they can shoot you down like sheep. That's what we faced from February to April of this year. It's been happening, but it escalated for 2 months recently. Our parents were in prison for over 100 days with no evidence, no reason whatsoever, because they defied the government trying to get our land back. Now, we're here because we need help. We have orphans, we have women without limbs, we have 13,000 IDPs, internally displaced people. In the space of February till now, there are 13,000 Adara people sleeping outside with no houses, no food, no clothes. Everything has been taken away. I'm here because I need help. I just want to be able to wake up in the morning and go home. That's all we want. We want to be able to talk about what we're going through. We can't talk about this. Everybody that has tried to help, if you try to talk about it, you're arrested, you're locked up. We can't speak about this at home. All we want is to be able to wake up in the morning, go to work, drop our kids in school, and go back home. That's all we want. We're not here to ask for donations or relief materials. We're here to ask for help. We need our story to be told. We need the government to help us. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Mercy Maisamari. I'm also from the Adara community. I was once a kidnapped victim from these Fulani headsmen. They came to my house at 12 a.m. in the morning, 10 gunmen armed to the teeth. They kidnapped me and took me to their camp. We were there for 11 days before the ransom was paid, and then we were released. As I'm here today, I'm here to represent others who were kidnapped. A lot of kidnappings have been going on in Kaduna and other places. You find out that people go to church and you are kidnapped in church, even the pastor, a lot of kidnappings are going on in Kaduna. Right now, Kaduna-Abuja expressway is very, very unsafe. It's either they kidnap you, they kill you, or they arrest you. If you talk, they arrest you. We need the government of the US government to please come to our aid. A lot of things are going on and nobody is saying anything. People are killed almost on a daily basis. Our people have been killed. We have over 400 people who have been killed from February till this time. We have a lot of people kidnapped. It's either you are traveling on the way and they kidnap you and ask for ransom, and these ransoms are money they keep piling up to buy weapons to come back and fight us. We need help. We need the US government to come and help us in Nigeria. We want freedom of religion. We want to be able to go to church freely and come back without being kidnapped or killed on our way. We need people to listen to our story and know that this is real. This is really happening, and we are here to testify and tell you that these things happen every day. It's becoming part of our lives. We see people being kidnapped and it's no more news that this person is kidnapped or that person is kidnapped. They kill people every day. You see, we have over 13,000 IDPs, people who are displaced in our place. And then our kingdom, our chiefdom is also dissolved. So we need the help of the US. Please come to our aid. Thank you very much.
Napoleon Adamu is my name, and I want to appreciate the US government accepting us to hear our story. Like I said before, the killings in Agatu is no longer news. It's found everywhere in the news, but we're here to just confirm the reality of it. In 2013, 5th May in particular, I know my uncle was killed in the first invasion, and I also lost my cousin. And this continued unabated till 2016. And as I speak with you, this period of time, there were about 17 attacks. And each of them, lives were claimed and houses were burned. across the communities in Agatu. Agatu is a local government of its own. It's not just a community. It has a population of over 500,000 people, Christian-dominated. We are here today, just like my other colleagues have said, to just appeal to the U.S. government. All we want is peace. We want peace. We want peace. It is obvious that we've been living with the Fulanis. The traditional one that we've been living with are not the ones that are coming in now. Before this crisis, we had the Fulani that we allowed to stay with us for the dry season until we finish our harvest, then they go back. As soon as rain drops, they go back. By this time, they packed their wives, their children away, and the ones that are coming now are young ones, fully armed, and they come in their numbers and raid our communities. After the 2016, they extended this invasion to other local governments, particularly in Guma, where our state governor comes from. And this has always continued. The people cannot stay. They burn not just houses, public schools, primary health centers, and other police stations they burnt. I think it is only intended to send us out of the place for them to occupy. And this is alarming, and we feel we cannot continue. There's no help from Nigeria government. In Agatu, we don't believe in IDP, and of course, they do not also provide any for us. All these attacks, they will come and go. We come back and stay under trees, and this has been our experience. They are not ready to come and rebuild the place. No support from anywhere. Nobody is talking, and no government is talking. Only little is being done by the state government, and of course, with its meager resources, it can't do anything much. Why the silence from the federal government, we do not understand, and that is why we are here. It's a very golden opportunity, and we want to appreciate the U.S. government for this noble chance they have given unto us. We appreciate all of you. Whatever you can do, whether as individual, to pressurize our government to do something so we can have peace in our land. Thank you. That's why we're here.
Thank you so much to our witnesses to violence and insecurity in Nigeria. We're so moved that they are here, their bravery, their courage for being here, to come to the United States and speak like this in a public way means that they and their families' lives are at risk. They are in danger being here, and returning to Nigeria is dangerous for them. We are looking for powerful champions for Leah Sharibu and the Adara daughters who are here testifying to what they have experienced personally in Nigeria. And so we're so thankful that we are finding some support here on Capitol Hill. Congressman Gus Bilirakis, who I believe will be coming by to say remarks, has been very encouraging and opening, and is a champion for Leah Sharibu and the Adara daughters and the Adara tribe. So with that, do we have any questions in the room for our panel?
She said for herself she doesn't know why the government is not reaching out to her and speaking to her and giving them information as a family. So she doesn't have an answer for that. But if I can say, our federal government, the state government, the local government, didn't get in touch with the family when Leah Sharibu was abducted on the 19th of February, until in August, when Boko Haram released a video of Leah, and Leah was seated in the hijab, the clothes, the Muslim clothing. She was sitting on a mat, and they recorded her and made her to speak to the president of Nigeria, asking him to release her, because they have given the federal government conditions on what they should do to get Leah released. that was the first video that the parents and all of us in Nigeria saw of Leah since the day she was abducted. And they said if the federal government by October 31st, 2018, does not respond to their demands, Leah will be killed. And immediately we came out and had a press conference, and we demanded that Leah should be released. Federal government should respond to the Boko Haram's demand, whatever it is, because they were able to respond and negotiate for the release of the other Muslim girls. Five of the Muslim girls died, but 101 of them came back alive. So if they were able to negotiate, they should respond to the demands of the Boko Haram and release Leah. Immediately after we had the conference, we were able to get the attention of Plateau State Governor, who invited us to his house, and then he placed a call to the President of Nigeria. That was the first time the Nigerian government ever spoke or got in contact with the family. And he assured Leah's mom, because he spoke directly to Leah's mom, and told her that he is doing everything possible, and very soon Leah will be reunited to her family. Today, Leah is still in captivity. We did not get anything. But we have gone out. When she became 15, we came out to talk. When she became 1 year in captivity, February 10th, we came out to have a press release because our elections were very close. By 19th, she was still in captivity. Her birthday came around again to become 16 this year in May. We came out all over the country, nothing, no response. We had some few senators and legislators that were able to just speak, but it's only ends in speaking. But the government has never gotten in touch again since that time, so we don't know what is happening. Well, when our president came last year to the United States of America, we saw that President Trump had a briefing with him, and he asked him to please do something concerning things that are happening in Nigeria. And he specifically said they are watching what is happening to Christians in Nigeria. And we were able to experience some reduction in the problems that we're having for some months. And all the Christians were very happy with what happened. Thank you.
Harry, can you tell us what you think about the status of security in Nigeria as a whole? What's the situation in Nigeria, not just in Adara land, but across the board?
In Nigeria today, it's hard to travel anywhere. You have to really pray. That's the only thing you can do, because everywhere you go to, you're scared of being kidnapped. And, you know, the thing is, even if you're able to pay 1 or 2 security men, the way the Fulani herdsmen attack, they don't come in a few numbers. Even if they're going to block the road, you'll be traveling on the road. Before you know it, there are about 50 to 100 armed Fulani herdsmen on the road. And these men, each of them, you see them carrying AK-47s, you know, and then sometimes they wear army uniforms. So sometimes it looks like a legal roadblock, because we have those because of the security concerns. Sometimes there are legal army roadblocks on the road for safety. So you never know, are these legal or are they not? So every time you travel, even if they are legal, you have your heart in your mouth the whole time. You're just scared to do anything. Now the Fulani herdsmen kidnap from home. You don't even have to be on the road. You'll be at home, they'll come and knock. Even if you don't open the door, they'll break the door down. Now they go about with an axe, so they will break down the door to take you away.
What is the government doing about the Fulani?
To be honest, they don't do anything till it affects them. I don't know if you heard about the chairman of SUPEB, right, that was kidnapped this year. He's a Fulani, he's a Muslim, and he was released the very next day. When it's a Muslim involved or affected, then suddenly the government reacts to it. But if it's any other person or just a commoner, I have to say that there are Muslims who are not rich that it happens to. It's not like it's just Christians it's happening to. But generally, the government reacts if it is somebody high up there, if a chairman of something is a VIP. If it affects a VIP, then it's okay.
So what's happening to the Adara? Is that going to happen elsewhere? Is it threatening other groups as well, just the Adara, or are others threatened?
Yes, it's threatening because the Adara people are the largest Christian community in Kaduna State. So for this to happen to the Adara people, it means it's a gateway, kind of, to the other Christian communities. Because we're so big, we span over 2 local governments. So if the government can successfully take Adara away and put us... I'm presently under Hausa Muslim Emirate. That's who is my leader now. And we are 95% minimum Christian Adara people. And now we're under an emirate. So if you can do that to the largest Christian community, how hard will it be to get the whole of Kaduna State?
Very good. Thank you so much to our panelists. We have a very special guest in the room today, Representative Gus Bilirakis from Florida. Well, thank you. Would you like to make some remarks, sir?
If I'm in a position to help, I always will. This is so very important, and that's why we actually serve, in my opinion, is to, because you're away from your families, but if you can make a difference to bring a child back to her mother and help out the Aduras, this child is a hero. Again, Rebecca's daughter, Leah, stood up and talked. She chose her faith over freedom. And that's extremely unusual for a child. I believe she was 14 at the time. Now she is 16. And her mother has not seen her for almost 2 years. She celebrated her 15th birthday and detained by herself. So again, the Adara is a tribe, and 95% Christians. And they're being used as a test case, and this could be genocide in the future, and we've got to prevent it from happening. But the first thing that I want to do is I want to do everything in my power to talk to members of the administration, possibly the Secretary of State, and all the members of Congress, because it really does make a difference. When members of Congress, we don't know it, but when you go around the world, particularly in Africa and the Middle East, when a U.S. representative and a senator speaks up on behalf of these wonderful people who are Christians and have done nothing wrong, they just want to exercise their freedom of religion, which we take advantage here, take for granted here. In the United States. So again, that's what we're here for, to do good things. And I appreciate you being here, and thank you for your courage as well. And you have my full support. Thank you.
So Representative Bilirakis is the co-chairman of the International Religious Freedom Roundtable, correct? Yes, and so we're very, it's an important moment for him to be here to welcome our guests and to tell them that they have his full support. And we would hope that others of the caucus would also join Representative Bilirakis to support these amazing witnesses.